You didn't just finish a fast, you reset your metabolism, your gut, and your appetite. And most people don't know that what you eat in the next 72 hours really affects you more than you even imagine. You went on this wonderful 21-day journey of the Daniel fast. So don't rush back into those old bad habits and those habits that you weren't spending as much time with the Lord. I'm going to talk you through some ways on how you can reintroduce food the healthy way. I'm Christa Spaeth, and I am so excited to be with you here. I'm a dietitian and a culinary specialist, and I love to share with others how God designed us to eat. So many of you might be like me. The very first time that I did the Daniel fast, I was dreaming of what I was going to eat the first day. And my husband was like, we are going to go have this yummy, huge hamburger and French fries. But I want to tell you to refrain from those urges because your body is going to revolt. You spent 21 days lowering your inflammation, improving your insulin, and improving your gut motility. You don't want to go backwards. Your digestive system isn't weak right now. It's temporarily recalibrated, and we want to introduce foods the healthy right way. What I want you to do first is sit and reflect on the foods that you ate the last 3 weeks that made your body feel great. That you woke up the next day and you're like, oh, my ring feels better. I can tell that the inflammation's down. You want to eat those foods and keep those foods incorporated moving forward. And probably most all of the foods that you had in the Daniel fast, you're going to want to keep incorporated moving forward into your permanent lifestyle. So ask yourself, what foods gave me the most energy and what foods helped decrease like the stomach discomfort and the bloat? And remember, the foods that you've been eating are how God designed them. They're not processed foods. And so your body was saying, thank you. So why would you want to go back to eating the way that you used to eat? Foods that I'm going to continue to incorporate into our diet is black bean hummus. I love it so much more than garbanzo bean hummus. I also love homemade cashew milk. I actually didn't know how super easy this was and how creamy it is. Just have cashews, 2 dates, and a little bit of salt. Delicious. It's kind of like a dessert. Add a little raspberries to it. Amazing. Why re-entry matters is because the last 3 weeks you have worked really hard on improving your gut microbiome. It's gotten used to all of these plant fibers in there, and it has a wonderful plethora of good microbes that are in there, and you don't want to really upset the apple cart. So sudden intake of high fat and high sugar foods can really mess things up, and you actually might get sick. You'll definitely have a stomach upset if you introduce those foods too early. And really, I hope that you're not going to be introducing a whole lot of sugar, maybe any sugar, for a long time, because that's kind of like where the inflammation comes from. Common symptoms of re-entry too fast would be, again, bloating, stomach upset, diarrhea, or even constipation. Like 30 years ago, my husband and I did a 7-day juice fast. We did not do it the right way, first of all, but the very first meal that we had after the fast was a fatty cheeseburger in a restaurant with French fries. Oh, don't recommend. We did not feel good after that. So I know better now. So trying to impart this wisdom to you. You've been given this gift of having a wonderful, clean, healthy gut. And so now is a great time to reintroduce foods one at a time. An allergy specialist actually say to reintroduce one food every 3 to 4 days. Now, that might seem really overwhelming, but look at the last 3 weeks. You did amazing things. You can do this. And then you will know if there's certain foods that you're eating that really upset your stomach that maybe that you are allergic to. So capitalize on this amazing moment and check it out. So again, 3 to 4 days is when you want to be starting a new food. So if you have a journal that you have been keeping in your entire time of the Daniel fast, you might have taken note of times when you still had brain fog or you were feeling extra bloated. So as you're reintroducing the foods, how do you feel after introducing meats or breads, or you get the point. Keep note of that. You're going to start to see like, ooh, something is really upsetting my stomach, I should probably stay away from that food. And the extra good thing about knowing what foods are really bothering your stomach is you're going to nourish it only with foods that help your body improve the optimal health. Your eyes are going to be bigger than your stomach at this point. You have really shrunk your appetite over the last 3 weeks. Starts with small portions. The first food group that I highly recommend that you introduce to your diet first is proteins. Whole muscle meat proteins, I strongly recommend. I will address this one thing. So for me, I have never been a huge meat lover. I really have thought that I probably could be a vegetarian, but I have found the value in eating animal protein. I have seen many people in my profession that have been vegetarian or especially vegan that the doctors even have told them to go back and have animal protein because animal protein helps your muscles grow and stay stronger, as just one example. Another wonderful reason why beginning with animal proteins is because they do have the complete set of amino acids in them. And part of that, God designed them to be digested also much more easily than a lot of other foods. So in the meat category, eggs are there. Now, eggs are one of the top 9 allergens. You may have found in your life that, oh, maybe eggs aren't the best thing for you to introduce first. Maybe it's going to be chicken, fish, or beef. Those are like the 3 other meats that I would say would be good to start with. Start with 3 to 4 ounces. I wouldn't go like, oh, I used to eat a 12-ounce steak. Start small. You'll probably be full, incorporating all of the other good foods that you've been having. The other important thing about keeping your portions small is your stomach needs to adjust to be giving it the right gastric acid to digest those proteins. There are huge reasons why you really do want to start small. You need to re-engage your body into digesting these foods that you used to eat on the regular basis. Okay, the second category that I would recommend incorporating next, so like maybe 3 to 5 days after you incorporated, let's say, beef as your first item. Then I would, okay, so for the dairy category, dairy in and of itself is one of the top 9 allergens. So this may be a category that you already know that you cannot tolerate. I'm a dairy girl. I am thankful that I do not have dairy allergies, but I do know from experience how difficult it is for so many people. So these are my recommendations. The first thing that I would recommend is doing an organic, unflavored kefir. So kefir, if you haven't tried it, it's naturally fermented. It has great probiotic strains in there. There's no sugar added in the unflavored kind. And you actually only need 4 ounces of it to get the real great probiotic benefits. Most people that might have had some sensitivities to dairy can handle the kefir because of that fermentation process. I will say I've tried every brand, I think, of kefir that is here in Minnesota, and I love to get the smaller local dairies. So much more flavor. They're usually thicker and creamier than the national brands, but give it a try. For all dairy products, I do recommend staying with organic because you don't have the synthetic hormones or any antibiotics in them. If you don't know anything about kefir and the fact that it's fermented, what happens in the fermentation process is that it partially breaks down that lactose, and so therefore it's easier for you to digest. The second dairy product that you could consider adding is yogurt. Yogurt also has great probiotics. There's so many varieties out there. Stay with the full fat. It gives satiety. It's great for your brain health. It's been shown to help with weight loss. I mean, there's a lot of great benefits of having whole fat dairy. Also, try some local brands. I know my local co-op has some local farmers that bring in some fun yogurts, and go for the unsweetened as well. You spend all this time getting sugar out of your diet. Let's keep it out. Add some fresh fruit on top. Maybe later you can add some honey. I wouldn't add honey right away. Just keep it simple. Get your body used to some of these other food products. I live really close to Wisconsin, so we got to talk about cheese. Most people are able to tolerate cheese better than fluid milk. There's some really great companies out there that are doing some raw cheese. Give it a try. I mean, even Costco is carrying like raw cheddar cheese. I kind of go for those cheeses because they, in my opinion, I actually haven't looked at the research, but are going to have more enzymes, and are more easily digestible. And for fluid milk, try looking at A2. There's so many studies out right now that show that the A2 versus all of the other regular milk on the grocery store shelves, it's easier to digest than we'll just call it the regular milk. I also recommend whole fat dairy really for all of the dairy products. If you're like me, grew up in the 80s and then the 90s when it was all about fat-free skim milk, that's old news. Go for the full fat. I love bread. And I will say, if you do not know the power of fresh milled bread, I'm going to put two links below. One is going to be for Sue Becker, and the other is Felicia with Grains and Grit. They really have phenomenal podcast episode explaining why you would want to have flour that is fresh milled. Now, you don't need a mill. If you have a Vitamix, you can actually grind up your own grains. Okay, I won't get into weeds here, but super, super important. I have learned so much, and I actually teach classes. So I talked about it for 2 hours, but I will save that talk for another day. Our country is so rampant in the amount of people that are gluten sensitive. I'm not talking about people with celiac disease. They are not able to have gluten of any kind, but the rest of the country that is saying that they're gluten sensitive and is on gluten-free diets, truly getting the fresh milled grains, it's a world changer, a game changer. So go and watch their videos today. They're impressive and incredible information there. I'm even going to be so bold as to say, if you cannot fresh mill your own flour or have a friend that can mill it for you, or even get some fresh milled flour from Sunrise Flour Mill, I'm going to say don't have it right now. From what I'm seeing and learning from the scientific evidence, it is such a root cause of gut dysbiosis, of upsetting your gut, upsetting the microbiome. It's pretty damaging, and there's a lot of inflammation with the flour that's on the grocery store shelves. I'm not usually that bold, but I'm so convinced that it's such a key component as to why people are getting sick. So check it out. Those of you that are having fresh milled flour and you're making your own bread, limit it to 1 to 2 slices at the most. You don't want to overdo it. Yes, it's good for you, but too much of a good thing is bad. There are a plethora of grains. You've probably tried them all on the Daniel fast. Keep them up. There are so many great B vitamins in the whole grains. They keep your energy up. Stick with the brown rice and the quinoa, millet, if that's something that you've tried, amaranth. I mean, the list goes on. Of course, I love oats a lot. Stay with those, and then maybe check out fresh milling your own flour at some time. Things to stay away from are the refined grains. So what you do need to really try to stay away from is refined grains. And we have a plethora of them. Pretty much anything that is boxed, like cereals, refined grains, tortillas, crackers, white flour, even whole wheat flour is considered refined if it's on the grocery store shelves, or whole wheat bread is refined that's made in the grocery stores. These refined food items rapidly increase your insulin, and you've worked so hard to get that in check. So strongly advise you to go to the Lord and pray, what foods can I eat to help my body stay healthy and whole? All right, caffeine. And many of you I know gave up caffeine during the fast. Good for you. That's a hard one. I know it's been hard for me. This is, I'm still, as I'm recording this, still in the fast. I was thinking about coffee this morning, like, oh, but what I had to ask myself, do I miss the coffee? Do I miss the caffeine? What is it that I miss? I actually miss the coffee with a little bit of milk and a little bit of honey, the whole thing, the experience of the morning. Ask yourself, do you want to go back to it? I know when I have reintroduced coffee after being off of it for a month, I'm like, oh, that's way more better than I remembered. And I actually don't like it. And it would take me like a week to like it. So why do I drink it? I don't know. It is definitely a habit for me, full disclosure. So ask yourself, do you want to go back on that? Or perhaps maybe you want to switch to green tea. There's a little bit of caffeine in there. There's such great anti-inflammatory benefits. Same with matcha tea, which has become so popular these days. Both the green tea and the matcha don't the caffeine in those don't like spike as much as coffee does. Let's talk about sugar. Again, you have not had any processed sugar in your diet. Really, really try hard to not introduce them. Those sugars are going to be what increase the inflammation and the brain fog. So, processed sugars, get them out. Great alternatives to processed sugars are natural sugars. Honey is amazing. It's in the Bible. God created it. It is natural as natural can be. Pure maple syrup, which we have a plethora of up here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. There's other things that sucanat, it's the least refined of the sugars. I would kind of like not introduce that so soon, but it does work well in a lot of recipes I found. And dates. Whole dates are great. I love to puree them. I just made this oatmeal bake this week. The recipe called for maple syrup, and I pureed up some dates and added it instead to that oatmeal bake. It was delicious. I will be also incorporating that recipe. Okay, processed foods. I'm sure you know by now, try to stay away as much as possible from processed foods. So about 30 years ago, my sister-in-law came to me. I was making manwich for dinner that night, and she said, "You realize you can make manwich like from scratch?" No, I didn't know that. And so ever since, I have been making my own manwich mix. Other things that are so easy to make, salad dressings. Like if you look at a salad dressing label, oftentimes there's sugar in there and 15 or so other ingredients. You can easily make salad dressings with olive oil and vinegar. There's a lot of wonderful flavored vinegars. Add some salt, add some herbs. Simple, simple dressings to make. Also, for salad dressings, what I have found is there are so many that have hidden seed oils that you really, really want to stay away from because seed oils have been shown to increase inflammation. The last category, meal timing and fasting. So many of you probably have been doing just 3 meals a day. Maybe you have been doing snacks. I'm going to encourage you, if your doctor allows, to not have snacks and to stay with 3 meals a day. It is so much better on your insulin. You're giving your insulin a rest, which is much needed. The other thing that I'm going to suggest incorporating is a fasting lifestyle. What does that look like? It's going to be different for everybody. But if you just skip 1 meal a week, that is also going to help your body rest because your insulin is resting even longer. You're going to start to have that autophagy taking place where it's actually your body is starting to heal itself. I have to do the cameo of my cat again because he loves to interrupt me when I'm filming. When you're skipping that 1 meal, what's really important is to pray. God calls us to fast and pray. It is so often in the Bible. It's probably why you were doing the Daniel fast in the first place. If you want to continue further on, you can do a 24-hour fast. Personally, I have found that jumping right into a 24-hour fast is a little harder. It might not be now for you because your gut is ready, but I would say wait a week and start to skip 1 meal. And then, like say Mondays, you're not going to have breakfast on Mondays and you will dedicate that time to the Lord. What I do for a 24-hour fast is I will finish my meal on Sunday at 6 p.m. and then I don't eat again until 6 p.m. on Monday. So that's 24 hours, but yet I get to eat on that day. The very first time I did a 24-hour fast, it was actually 36, and that was hard. I don't recommend that. If you do find that you are having some problems, it helps. Adding salt or lime helps stay hydrated during the fast. Huge benefits of incorporating that fasting lifestyle now. Your body's healthy right now, and it is so much easier to step into that fasting lifestyle. It helps your gut reset. It also helps you keep that weight off and that inflammation off that might have been there when you started on the Daniel fast. So I really hope that the tips and tricks here help you. Please leave some notes on maybe some things that you have found that have helped you on your re-entering into the regular lifestyle diet. I just want to encourage you, listen to your body, go slow, and listen to what the Lord is telling you on what to eat and what not to eat. So with that, God bless. Thank you for being here. If you could like and subscribe, I sure would appreciate that.